Live from the City of Angels, you are watching the MMT Oscars post-game show as we celebrate Oppenheimer with 7 Oscars. Didn't get quite to the 9 we predicted last night. Didn't come through with sound or screenplay adapted, but still 7 big wins, all the major categories here. You look at a picture, a director, actor, supporting actor, you've got editing, you've got cinematography, and of course Ludwig's score, which is one of the best scores we have heard come out of any film in forever, probably since Tenet, right, which wasn't even nominated. But what a successful night. A little bit strange there at the end, right, with Pacino. Anticlimactic. He's just like, it's Oppenheimer. I'm like, what? It's Oppenheimer. And Nolan wins, and it really is the story here tonight. I mean, obviously, I'm not thrilled with the fact that Poor Things has 4 wins, including Emma Stone, who did beat Lily Gladstone. I'm telling you, that race was so tight. I mean, that might have been like 2 votes, maybe 3. I mean, that's how tight that race was. Everything else here was pretty much as expected. You know, you look at the wins here for Oppenheimer, those were all anticipated. The other ones were border, right? It was right there versus Zone of Interest versus Oppenheimer and Sound. And then you look at screenplay, really all signs pointed to American Fiction. I have issues with that screenplay, but it just, let's give that film something. And if there is one thing I think we can all agree on with Oppenheimer, my initial reaction, go back and watch that video from way back in July of last year. It's the screenplay. It's not the screenplay I would have written, the way that I would construct it. That's how Nolan does things, right? He doesn't always go by the numbers. He's going to give you something unique take. Obviously, you have the climax, and then we get to the back end of the film, which I think is a challenge for a lot of people, the back 45 minutes. But from a filmmaking perspective, right, when we talk about Oscars Best Picture, we are talking about the greatest achievement in cinema of the year. And as such, you give this to Oppenheimer. This is the best film to win Best Picture since Parasite. No question whatsoever, because like Parasite, that's cinema, okay? The last 2 of our Best Picture winners have been 2 of the weaker, if not the weakest, worst Best Picture wins ever, between Everything Everywhere and certainly Coda, which is a Hallmark Channel movie, right? I mean, it's just not a great film. And it's just serviceable. It's not cinema. We need to make sure that cinema's getting this, and that's what happened here tonight with Oppenheimer. It restores luster in the Academy, who got it right, because the greatest achievement in cinema this year was Oppenheimer. So the luster is back with the Academy for now. Let's hope it continues, and we continue to go forward with next award season. We'll be talking about Oscars 2025 here shortly, because we're already on to next year, right? I mean, it's such a long time to talk about these movies. Go back to Oppenheimer back in July, right? Barbie, July. A lot of these films I saw in the fall, finally, we're here. We're at the finish line. So there is really a sense of accomplishment to get to this point. I am thrilled to finally be moving away from some of these films like Poor Things. I never want to talk about it again. I mean, the fact that it won 4 Oscars is nauseating. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to be happy. We're going to be positive here tonight on MMT. For those of you who've never been here, thanks for being here. Give me a like, subscribe if you've not, and get to the comments here very shortly. Let's go over some of the wins that I'm sure you watch. I mean, who didn't watch the Oscars? You guys are film freaks. Of course you watch. We just sat there for 3.5 hours. That's not bad, right? Started at 4. I mean, it really went on time. I give Kimmel, first of all, can I say something about Kimmel? I think he was good. I do. I think that there was just very little until the very end, that political thing. That's it. It was really about Hollywood having fun. They were smart jokes. He delivered them well. And last night I was saying, I'm not so sure about Kimmel. I was definitely in the camp of, oh man, but I'll tell you what. I can't really fault him. I think it was a strong performance by Jimmy Kimmel. This is what I do, right? Ultimately, I can say one thing and then watch and then change. That's called being objective. I'm not going to come on here and say, Kimmel sucked. No, because he didn't, right? If he sucked, we'd say he sucked, right? We're not that. It's not what we do here at this channel. If it's woke, we're not going to automatically say it's terrible like everybody else does. That's their thing. We don't have a thing. Our thing is speaking truth and being fearless. That's it. And Oppenheimer's the best film this year, no question about it. But Kimmel did a very nice job. I have no issues whatsoever with him. Let's get that set. I think the biggest mistake of the night, without question, the number one thing that pissed me off about Oscars 2024 is The Boy and the Heron. The Boy and the Heron is the most overrated film, other than Poor Things, of 2023. If it were not Miyazaki, this film would not have won Best Animated Feature. The reason it won is because Miyazaki. It is a disaster. Watch that film. Good luck making sense of it. Killer parakeets. It loses its way. It's like, what is this shit? It's incoherent. Not a great film. In fact, I can't believe I didn't savage it more when I came out of it. Because you know why? At the time, I'm like, well, I did it. I did what I said I'd never do. It's Miyazaki, so I'll make it a little bit, I'll soften it. No, this is not a good film. And especially when you have Spider-Verse sitting there. You can't do this. You can't be this wrong. We do not award Oscars for legacy. We never will. We base on merit. That's how we award any kind of award. Any kind of anything in life, it's merit. And The Boy and the Heron in a ring, a boxing ring versus Spider-Verse, is destruction. And the fact that it does not, and by the way, I'm so tired. I am so tired of people talking about, it's the first half of a film. It's the middle film. I don't give a shit. Dune 1's better than Dune 2. So Dune 1 should have won Best Picture in 2021. So I'm tired of that mentality. Well, it's the first. I don't give a shit. The movie's the movie. I mean, we've had plenty of films that the first part is better than the second. So why are we? I'm done with this mentality. So that's the biggest pissed off moment of the night for me is Boy and the Heron winning. And I'm being told by people, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. The hell it is a masterpiece. All right, let's get to some comments here on this Sunday night. Thanks for being here. We're early for our usual Sunday night extravaganza, which usually starts an hour from now. So we'll go a little over an hour tonight, maybe an hour and a half. We'll see what happens. It is Oscars 2024 bedtime. We're putting it to bed. I am thrilled as we look forward to Oscars 2025. In moments, we'll break that down. We'll talk about the films that are in the mix. We have some films that may be in, may be out. We get that every year. You know, look at a Dune 2 was going to be included with this group this year, and then the SAG strike came, and once that happened, they shoved it. Warner Brothers said, let's put it into 2024, removing it from contention for this Oscars. Great question last night in the live stream about how does that affect the film. I think it affects it box office. You're seeing it. Look at it again this weekend, down only 44%. It's already at 365 million, I believe, worldwide. It's huge. The number's massive, and it's only going to grow maybe 375 when we get the actuals tomorrow. But here's why it was beneficial to be moved out of there, because Oppenheimer was going to win no matter what. And next year, we're going to pull it up in a minute. So I'm going to get some reaction from your show here tonight, and then I'm going to get into 2025. But when you look at it, when we look at this thing here in a moment, you're going to see a bunch of films that aren't as strong as an Oppenheimer or even a Scorsese, right? Because think about it. If Killers of the Flower Moon is out in virtually any other year, it has a better chance of doing a heck of a lot more damage. The fact that Oppenheimer is there, the 500-pound gorilla sitting there with the box office it has, and Nolan is the director, and you've got Cillian Murphy, kind of a comeback story with Cillian Murphy, right? You go back and you look at Cillian was just in A Quiet Place, right? He was a supporting actor, and now he's back to being a lead. Like we saw, you see Sunshine? God, I love Sunshine. I love Danny Boyle. I mean, we've talked about Danny Boyle ad nauseum, but if you guys don't love Danny Boyle as much as me, we need to get that changed. But when you look at Cillian, kind of a comeback for him. But when you look at next year, you have a little more space to operate, because even a Killers would have done better next year. Right now, the thing is let's be honest, it's very hard to figure out exactly what the landscape's going to be until we get all the films. Until we get the films, we don't really know. We don't know. You can talk about a former director who's bringing in someone who has a great filmography and has cachet, and they come in with new film, but it doesn't always equate. You look at the biggest example of that coming up next year is Bong, back with Mickey 17. Warner Brothers just shoved that to January 2025. Now, I spoke about this last night. It's not that big a deal that it's in January, because we see this happen all the time. It happened in the past. Look at, I think 1917 did this, if I'm not mistaken. It was right around then. You get it before, you get it to drop for eligibility in New York and LA, and obviously you screen it out here at all the screening rooms, which they do throughout award season, and then it still is eligible. So I wouldn't say that Mickey 17's out. Okay, we'll talk about it in a minute, but let's do this. Let's do comments about tonight's show. What are you most excited for? What are you most pissed about? It better be Boy and the Heron and Emma Stone, but it's okay. Listen, if we're gonna give Poor Things something, I don't have a problem with it winning production design and Emma Stone. You guys know I hate the film and what it stands for. I really do. But I can't say and be truthful that Emma wasn't charming in a role that should have been an utter disaster. So I guess that maybe in some way she did deserve to win. It's the last time I'm going to admit it. I'm going to delete the stream when it is over. It's going to be deleted because I did not just admit that. It's Nolan. It's finally Christopher Nolan. It's finally Robert Downey Jr. You guys, can you believe that we have never had how do they not have Oscars? What's going on here? How is this even possible? You talk about the legacy of some of these people that have been in Hollywood for so long and they're so highly esteemed, right, in this town, and they don't have an Oscar. Robert Downey Jr.'s got 4, right? No, what, 0? What, 0? That's the thing, is a lot of times you're shocked to learn how disrespected some of these people have been over the years at the Oscars. And it's finally rewarding, I think. And we felt this back in 2019 into 2020, right before our world was turned on head. God, that was awful. When we had Parasite winning, remember how everybody was just like, yes, this is exactly what we needed. This is the film that deserved to win Best Picture. Tonight, it's similar. I don't think it's quite as beloved to win, because I think that when it really comes down to it, Parasite's a more beloved and kind of lovable film than Oppenheimer, which is a cold, distant film based on, obviously, Robert Oppenheimer's extremely cold and distant. So the film just doesn't have that emotional gravity that Parasite does. But I think that they still are the right film to win. And as we go back and look at Parasite, we look at tonight with Oppenheimer, the Academy got it right. And I think in that respect, they're very similar wins where people don't feel cheated, right? Nobody's going to go years from now and say Oppenheimer won Best Picture. What? Like, that's not going to happen, okay? And it will happen when we go back like last year. Look no further than the film over my shoulder, Tar. Tar's the best film of last year. It's not, guys, this isn't a contest. This isn't even like up for debate. Tar destroys everything everywhere across the board, every single category, and certainly Cate Blanchett. The fact that we didn't reward her with an Oscar last year will be one of the most criminal activities ever by the Academy. But when we look at getting it right, you look at an Oppenheimer as your Best Picture, and that's 100%. I think it's a feel-good win, and it makes sense whatsoever. I mean, listen, 4 Oscars is definitely a triumph for Poor Things. Do I love seeing it? Of course not. I just said that. But I also have to recognize the fact that it has 4 wins. Now, Hollywood obviously has a long tradition of loving weird shit, and I would definitely say that Poor Things is some weird shit, and disturbing, and deranged, and depraved. But Hollywood's some of those things too, isn't it? So it's not that surprising to see it win some of these things. Yeah, thank you, guys. You're all exactly, Simeon. She was robbed. She was robbed. One of the less cringeworthy Oscars in recent memory. Johnny, I'd agree. I mean, we didn't have a moment. I think, John Cena. I just don't. I know it's funny. I know he's more of a comedian. I just don't know if I want to see him do that. I feel like in a way, I know he's going for guys. Understand? It's just kind of like I wouldn't put myself in that position. I just wouldn't. Kudos to Cena, who obviously I'll do it. But and I know he wasn't fully nude, but still, it just was a little. It's a little beneath, right? Not as beneath as Emma Stone playing a baby-brained woman having sex at a whorehouse. That's beneath somebody. But it was in that realm. But I would agree. There's nothing that major that happened here tonight that was like, oh my God, wow, what a night. I mean, the speeches were fine. I don't think anything. Am I missing something? Was there a moment? Because I was watching and kind of like, tweeting and paying attention. I wasn't fully like this locked in the whole time. What is everybody saying every word? But it's just like as a cursory overview of the whole thing, I feel like it really wasn't anything that was all that. There's no slap, right? There's nothing that was like, oh my God, did you see that? Holy crap. What was the best editing? Well, of course it was Oppenheimer. What are you asking, Joe? Are you asking, did they say something weird? I don't know if I was like I said, I was eating dinner. I had my phone in one hand. I was sort of paying attention. We've done these films for so long now, you guys. Yeah, seriously, Pacino at the end. I don't know what was going on. The man's like how old is he? Is he 80? He's 80 something. All right. I mean, he's not the Al Pacino from Heat, right? He's got an ass. He's not that guy. Right. he's not that guy. He's older. He's older. And clearly is like, he just grabs the thing. I see Oppenheimer. Like, what's going on here? Oh my God, it won. Of course it won. We knew it won, but it was just kind of like, could we just like maybe just go over the 10 nominees one more time? I think he must have missed a cue because at least at that point, here are the 10 nominees. Anatomy of a Fall, right? Zone of Interest. American Fiction, list them off alphabetically and then pull the thing out. I was like, what's happening? We've seen the 10 things and I see what just happened? It wasn't as bad as obviously Moonlight in La La Land, that was something else. So there's no event, there's nothing tonight that is like that, unless I like ran off to the restroom and missed it. But I don't think I did because my Twitter was pretty quiet. Emma Stone was too good, even if you hated the film. I mean, I just said it. I'm not going to say it again. Nolan's the new Kubrick. Interesting. I think that's fair. Bob Dole, Leo was his best role in Killers, snubbed. I agree. And Robert De Niro's best role in Cape Fear. Lily Gladstone was third best acting role in her own movie. Yes, but she was the lead. A lot of people saying supporting. She was the lead, and it's just, it's unfortunate she didn't win. I think here's why it's unfortunate. Emma Stone already has her Oscar. And I know we've done this before where we've talked about someone already having an Oscar like last year, right? You look at Cate Blanchett. The difference is Emma Stone's performance was not Cate Blanchett and Tar. Emma Stone, Poor Things, doesn't even come close to Cate Blanchett Tar. When you get to that level, you're talking about an otherworldly, a once-in-a-lifetime performance like Cate Blanchett Tar. You cannot, I don't care for any circumstance, for anybody, you do not shove her aside. You give her the trophy. You cannot. In this situation, when you have Lily versus Emma, Emma's had it before. Emma's got another one coming up, possibly this year with Yorgos. We'll bring 2025 up here momentarily. A few more comments about tonight, and then we'll get into 2025 and go wherever you want to go here on the Sunday night. Thanks for being here, MMT. Sunday Evening Spectacular, which also serves as the MMT Oscars postgame show tonight, live, coast to coast, border to border. I want to see what the ratings are going to be for tomorrow, by the way, too. But when you look at what's coming up here in 2025 and you look at Lily Gladstone, you just look at this. How often are we going to see Lily Gladstone in this position again, right? That's the question. And when it's considered roughly the same, for me, for sure, I would say you give it to Lily Gladstone, right? At the end of the day, if all things are essentially equal or close enough, I'm going to give it to the person I feel like makes me feel better with the vote. As long, again, I'm not trying to virtue signal. I'm not trying to, quote, be woke. I'm just trying to say this is the right thing to do. If they're equal, not if one's better, not if one in your eyes. And in my eyes, I have no problem. They're both at the same level for me. Can we spend an hour talking about Gosling performance? That took balls. I mean, my God, to do something live, says the guy doing something live. I'm not in front of an entire audience, right, of 2,000 people. It's different to sit here in my bedroom with a cam on and to spout a bunch of nonsense about movies. Yes, nonsense. Than it is to sit in front of a 2,000 seat performance and I've got everybody staring. It's just different, right? It's a different muscle. So when you look at what Gosling has to do, he's not a theater actor. Has he ever even been on Broadway? He hasn't done a lot of live stuff. I mean, I'm sure he's done live stuff. He's performed. He's a kid actor and all this. I get it, but he hasn't done that. So it's a different thing. I'm sure he was nervous, no question. And I think that it took so much fortitude and straight up balls to do that, and he nailed it. But here's what he had too. You got to remember, in that situation, he's doing it. He's coming up out of the audience, going to the stage. He's got all of those supporting players, right? He's got Ronson. He goes up to right off the bat. He's got people to make him feel comfortable, right? In any situation like that, if you're up there by yourself, if he's singing a solo without all of the glitz and glamour, with all the dudes and all the shit going on in that whole skit, then that's different. But when you've got all those people around you, you just play off of that. And you kind of saw that with him on the stairs, obviously. They rehearsed that thing how many times? 100 times. Probably today, like 50 times today, just so he got it. And it's like anything, right? You exercise that muscle, and then you get used to it, and then when it's live, you just do it. And I think that you watch this channel, go back and watch the channel from when we first started to now. It's a different beast, because now I've done it so much. It's like, this is like what I do. I don't even think about it. And once you get to that point, I think he was probably at that point with the song. He was great. And there's no stopping Ryan Gosling. It's not fair to us as guys to have him as someone that we have to measure up to Ryan Gosling, to that dude. He's jacked. He's maybe the best looking guy. I mean, literally, he's not short. I've told you guys, I've met him in person 2 times. He's about 6'1", 6'2". Okay, let's call him 6'1". He's thick. Like, he's not a little dude. He's also just dashing, and it's devastatingly handsome. It's not fair. It makes me want to push harder in the gym every single day, Ryan Gosling. I will catch you. There's no chance in hell, but I will try. It's like that old, remember McConaughey's speech? That man in the mirror that I'm chasing 5 years from now is me. Only instead of me, it's Ryan Gosling in the mirror. I will catch you, Ryan, you devilishly handsome man. My God. All right, let's get to a super chat. Bob Dole, welcome to the channel. Help hated Poor Things, but Emma deserved it over Lily. I don't agree, but I said at least I have them ranked even. Is that fair? I think that's fair. At least I had them ranked even. Am I a little bit prejudiced against Poor Things? Yes, at least I admit it. At least I admit it. Leo wasn't there tonight. I wonder what happened. He's shooting the Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I don't know if they're on right now. In fact, let's do it, guys. Let's not fool around. Let's have fun, and let's get into Oscars 2025 right now. Boom. And guess where we're headed? You know damn well we're going to awardsace.com, where everything has now shifted to, guess what? The Oscars. As soon as I get this ad out of here, I can see it. Here we go. Oscars 2025. Ready? Roll it. Oscars Best Actress, we have Lady Gaga. We've got Timothée Chalamet for Best Picture for Dune 2. We've got Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing over there in Best Actor. We've got Rebecca Ferguson, Supporting Actress, Dune 2. We've got Anya Taylor-Joy for not Best Director, but for Furiosa. And then we've got Best Supporting Actor. And yes, I think he's going to be one of the guys. No question about it. Austin Butler is so great in that film. Okay, let's do it. Let's uncap Oscars 2025, and then we'll get into more of your picks and your reactions to the stream. Congratulations to Nolan on Elusive Oscar. Thank you again, Bruce, for the super chat. How great was seeing Steven Spielberg pass the torch. I agree. That was a really strong moment. Happy for Wes Anderson, too. Bummer he wasn't there. Look, Wes Anderson in shorts, you knew that was going to come through. It's a Netflix short directed by Wes Anderson. Everyone's like surprised. Like, what are you guys surprised? Okay, we're getting back to the Oscars in a moment. I want to get Oscars 2025 going. Let's go through the Best Picture contenders for next year right now on the 10th of March 2024. Guys, we are 1 year away, and it's never too early for Oscars 2024, the big board. Here we go, guys. These are some of the films I'm going to highlight, all alphabetically, and I'm going to tell you the ones that are more than likely going to be the heavy hitters for next year. I'm just getting familiar with some of these films, so don't get angry with me if I don't know all the shit inside and out. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. BC Project is Paul Thomas Anderson, that is the title it's going by. I don't think we're going to get that film, but I have to put it in because there's a chance that it gets in this year, a chance. Bike Riders, interesting because Focus picked that up. I don't think it's going to be a contender, but it will be a film that's certainly in the mix. One of the films you've got to watch out for, I know for sure, is going to be Blitz. That's an Apple film. That is McQueen. That is going to be a big-time contender. Conclave, Focus, that is another big-time film. Dune Part 2, it's going to get a nomination. I'm looking at these films. Dune 2 is in. I even have Deadpool and Wolverine. Why not, guys? Why can't we at least consider it? Maybe it's amazing. Maybe it's even better than we thought it could be. And if so, why can't it be in there? We don't have a superhero bias. Can't be in there. It's a Marvel movie. Furiosa, possibly. Look at the last one. Did very well during award season. George Miller, Hollywood loves him. Gladiator 2, assuming we get that film, I think we are. Some of these films are assuming. Holland, Michigan, another film to look out for. Joker, Folie à Deux, that's one that, no question, Joker 2 will be a contender. Juror number 2, that is Eastwood. That is Warner Brothers has so many films next year, you guys. We're not even into all of them. Kinds of Kindness is the new Yorgos film, and that could be in, could not be in. That's why you see the diamond. That means it could be out. It's not necessarily going to be eligible for next year. Mickey 17, same thing, Bong. We go down to the Nickel Boys. That is an Amazon film based on a book. That should be big. Nosferatu could be a player, certainly in cinematography, no question. Parthenope, I believe that. Let's try to. I think it's Parthenope. I don't know what it is. Someone tell me. But I'm hearing that could be one. Queer could be another one if it gets in. Sing Sing, A24 debuted at Sundance this year. Could be. You also have an untitled Jordan Peele movie. Also, Trey Edward Schultz. God, I love that director. He could be back this year. It's untitled. He did Waves last. Krisha, and also, what's another one? He did that, the zombie one, the end of the year. End of the world. He's very good. Wicked could be in there. So these are just some of the films. But look, what did I tell you guys? When you look at these films straight up coming up next year, there's nothing that stands out that's like, okay, this is a lock. This is in. There's nothing here that is going to be like, okay, that's going to be your winner. Like if we were to do last year today, right? If we were to say last year at this time and I put out Oppenheimer and I said Nolan, of course. If I said Scorsese, Killers of the Flower, of course. But did you notice all the films I just said there's nothing there that is going to be number one on the draft board right now. I can't even pick. Right now, I'd say Dune 2, right? Wouldn't you? Just based on what we just saw. Maybe we can do a physique critique. He's too big. Cena's too big. You want to be balanced. You want to have good aesthetics. I feel like he's too jacked. He's too big. He's like Mark Wahlberg. He's too big. He needs to like streamline himself just a little bit. Yeah, Kubrick never. See, these are the things you forget. You forget about the directors that have never won. And finally, Nolan's in the category that he's not in that category anymore. I remember seeing Memento 20 years ago and thinking this director is going to win Oscar one day. I can't believe it took this long, but congrats to Nolan. And also, it's funny you talk about seeing a director and you go, this is a future Oscar-winning director. I've got two in mind, and the fact that both are women, it is what it is, man. That's not why I see this. There's no question in my mind Rose Glass will be an Oscar-winning director soon. Not like soon. She will win as long as she gets something that's a little bit more accessible than we saw with even Saint Maud and now Love Lies Bleeding. I really like Love Lies Bleeding. Can't wait for you to see it this weekend. And also Charlotte Wells and After Sun. You look at those debuts and I'm like, okay, we're talking about a future Oscar-winning director right there. And it's fun when you see that, right, Papa? HG1, 100%. When you see that talent and then you see it come through actors that way. Go back to Julia Roberts and Mystic Pizza. You see somebody and you go, oh yeah, this person's gonna be big. Now I remember, I go back and I look at Gosling going all the way back to obviously Notebook, but even before that, where was the first time I even saw it? But you go back to Gosling back in 2010, 2011, 2012, when he's really just coming up, making big, huge, obviously Drive, Crazy Stupid Love, all those films like one after another. And you look at one of the things we forget about with Ryan Gosling, and it's very important to note this, and we talk about it, you bringing into John Cena here, and you're asking for physique critique. It's very important to note that when a lot of actors take that next step, and you see them kind of, come into their own. They combine that with a physicality. You look at Ryan Gosling, he was not the biggest dude. He hit the weights hard. And when he did, you look at Place Beyond the Pines, you look at Drive, you're looking at a guy who filled out. And when he did that, he became the dude. He became, now you see it now with Ken, and you see it with the Fall Guy. Guy's jacked. I mean, Ryan Gosling is a big dude. He's not like a little big dude. He is a big, thick bitch. He's, so is Ryan Reynolds. Both of them. I met them both. They're both big dudes. You would not want to get in a fight with either one of those guys. They're not little, short. Like, you see them in person, you're like, oh my God, that's unimpressive. You see them, you're like, those are badasses. Very important. It's part of the maturation, is hitting the weights and getting bigger and getting more of a presence physically. I'm not. It's funny. We get this all the time. Where I definitely am attracted to some dudes. I'm not gonna lie. Why are we gonna pretend that we're not? I mean, you look at a Gosling, you look at a Pitt, you look at a Hemsworth, you look at Daniel Kaluuya's got this thing about him. We're allowed, but you guys know, anyone who's been on MT forever, who's our number one draft pick? If we had to pick an actor or actress off of our board of the number one draft pick to whatever, then who is that? You guys know. I don't even need to say it. You guys all know who number one is on the draft pick. And guess what? It's Elizabeth Olsen. Come on, guys. I mean, drop dead. Just drop dead. BB. I think Hans has a chance for a score to do enough for the Dune sequel. I don't think so. I don't think the sequel score is as strong as the original. Am I the only one who thinks that? When I was watching Dune 2, I just didn't feel it as much as I felt one. I didn't feel Oppenheimer. I didn't feel Tenet. I just don't, man, there's something about Dune 2, and I'm going to watch it again. I've only seen it the one time. I was not completely blown away with Dune 2, not nearly as much as Dune 1. And I've spoken to that and why I think that is. I think anytime you go revisit a world for a second time, it's the awe's not the same. It's just, it can't be. When you watch any film for the second time, you just aren't going to have the same level of awe. You might see things that you didn't see before. You might have a new respect for something you didn't see before, but you're not going to have that awe factor. You know what's happening. I'm going to go see Love Lies Bleeding again this week. I really dig that film, but I'm not going to have the level of awe that I had that initial screening on Thursday. It doesn't happen. I think that's just what happened with Dune 2. It just didn't quite blow me away. Don't delete. We usually have the same opinions. For which? Oh, for you're saying for Emma Stone? Yeah, listen, I told you, I don't have a problem with it. It's fine. She's fine. I'm not like miserable with her winning. Dune 2 was amazing, way better than Dune. Watch it in Dolby this time. Byron, I saw it at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was you got to understand that the Ray fucking whatever the name of the theater is, the Ray whatever theater at Warner Brothers on the lot. It's incredible. The sound in there, it's perfect. It was not the conditions. It was perfect screen. Wasn't IMAX, but the screen's huge and the sound was good. It just didn't do it. Let's go back and let's talk a little bit more. We already did Oscars 2025. We've done it. Now we'll go back and talk about tonight a little bit. Those of you just joining the stream, thanks for being here, MMT, on this Sunday night. I'm excited, guys. I'm going to be honest, as always, on the channel. When am I not honest? I'm done. I'm done with Oscars. I need a break. I need a little bit of a break. So when I put this 2025 together, I said, okay, let's just move away for a little bit. Let's get some distance because we're going to be talking about some of these things for the next year. So as we close things out tonight, I think the number one thing when we look at the headline from tonight is that the Academy got it right with Oppenheimer. They picked the best achievement in cinema for the best picture. They picked the best director for best director, best actor. I think even though I do love Paul Giamatti and the holdovers, you think I'm going to complain about Cillian Murphy. Obviously, we're not going to complain about Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to complain a little about Emma Stone, but it's not like it was Emma Stone versus Cate Blanchett. Cate Blanchett and Tar beats everybody here. Everybody, including Cillian Murphy. She beats everybody again this year. That's why that was such a bad loss. Such a bad, egregious snub last year when she did not win. It's a performance that you put it up against virtually any performance, man or woman. Yes, two sexes. And guess what? It is going to be a win for Cate Blanchett. And she didn't win. So it's nice to see. Martin's 0 for 26 with nominations the last two movies. It kind of feels like Hollywood's Martin Scorsese, we're good. We're good. Unless he's got to do something that is edgy. I mean, really edgy. He's got to go back to the old Scorsese. I think that's the only way. These things, an original story, something that is going to wow Hollywood again. Listen, you got it. If you haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon and you love filmmaking, there's no way you will not love the filmmaking of Killers of the Flower Moon. I still adore the end of that film when we go into the radio call of the whole thing, right? That is brilliant. That's a brilliant moment. I think Killers of the Flower Moon definitely didn't get as much respect as it should have gotten. Leo should have 100% been nominated. I mean, I never got to see Rustin. You guys know how I feel about Netflix movies. I kind of just put it off, and I heard Rustin was like, whatever. Obviously, you saw it. It was nowhere else. So it was really about Coleman, and I love Coleman Domingo, but I still think you have to find a way to get Leo DiCaprio into the conversation. He has to be one of those five. It's just too strong a performance. It's one of his best performances. And I know that we're at this point where it's like, it's Leo. We've done it. And I think it's the same thing as you say here with Martin Scorsese. It's Martin. It's Scorsese. We've done it. We don't need to do it anymore. And when you get to that point, then it's very hard to, turn that ship around and become a big, deal in Hollywood. Yeah, he's hello, but I'm talking about awards he can win. He's got to do something that's just going to be completely unique and something different. Waves is a very underrated film, Joe. I completely agree with you. It's up on the board behind me. It's all the way up there. I still have it on the wall because I love the film. I love the first half of the film, not the second half, because it's two different films, right? But the filmmaking of Trey Edward Schultz is, man, in that film, that's what I like. You guys know what I love, a grounded, gritty film in Waves in the first half of that film for sure. The look and feel of that film is I love that film. And then you look at, obviously, the Tar, grounded. I wouldn't say it's gritty, clearly. Good Times, grounded and gritty. Any kind of film like that, I think that's what Scorsese's got to get back to. Go back to, give me some more grounded, gritty New York. Give me something. Listen, Scorsese could have made Joker, if you think about it, right? Scorsese could have if he was thinking in the mindset. I know he doesn't like superhero movies, but actually, if he was the one who came up with the idea, he could have easily come up with that, because obviously we know that we're talking about Taxi Driver and what's it called? The comedian movie. That, right? De Niro's a comedian. Totally drawing a blank right now. Those two films, right? When you look at those, Scorsese's there. What are you doing? So he's got to that's what Scorsese's got to do. He's got to get to that level where he can do something that is going to blow people away again. Something different. Can we all agree that Ryan Gosling performance of Ken? Yeah, I agree. There wasn't a whole lot, Richard, going on in the film, in the ceremony here tonight that was thrilling. It was kind of just like we kind of expected so much of this, and that's what I think overall was this Oscars like going to be one of the most remembered Oscars as far as events that happened during them. Obviously the slap, but anything that really, other than the Gosling, is not a whole lot here that you are going to remember years from now. Obviously the Oppenheimer win is the king of comedy. Exactly king of comedy. So yeah, but Scorsese needs to do that. He needs to make his own, go back and find, if he can't write it, find a writer with an original screenplay that is set in New York, that is gritty as hell, that's like a Good Time. Like, make some kind of Good Time, only Scorsese. He can do that. He's got to find the right script. And he didn't write Killers of the Flower Moon, so obviously he's open to finding sourced material that someone else has written. So he needs to find that and go for it. Yeah, I mean, no question. And Gosling also, the balls it took. I mean, yeah, king comedy, exactly. Let's go a couple more from the Oscars from next year. Let's go over the best actor quickly. We did picture. Let's do best actor, and we'll go over a few of the big hitters. And again, some of these people might not be in next year. We're going to find out if they are eligible or not. Kingsley Ben-Adir for Bob Marley, One Love. I mean, early on, he should be a contender. I'm not saying it's definitely not going to happen because it's too early in the year. I'm just saying right now, if we were to say, we have to put him on the list. Chalamet, Dune Part 2, I do not think he'll be there in the end. It is still just not enough for me. It's just not. He's better in this film than Dune 1, but it's not enough for me for this. Daniel Craig has 2 options this year. Knives Out 3 is due this year, so it could be his year for that. Also Queer, which is a film that could be shelved until the following year. Also BC Project, that is the Paul Thomas Anderson movie. That's DiCaprio. So I think Coleman Domingo is getting raves for Sing Sing. He's probably in. Adam Driver, Megalopolis. Coppola is allegedly back this year. Forgot to mention Megalopolis in the Best Picture before. Megalopolis is a film that should be, assuming it's Coppola, it's got to be in the mix, right? For Best Picture, Best Director, and Driver maybe, finally. Think about Adam Driver. Can we talk about Driver for a minute? Driver is not fantastic in Ferrari. I don't think he needs to be not doing accents. That's the first thing for sure. He needs to just do a movie where he's a dude. He needs to go back to being the guy that just even look at Annette. He's so great in Annette. I mean, if you haven't seen Annette's such a weird fucking movie, but I love it. It's so bizarre, but it works. And his performance is a high wire act, and it shouldn't work if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. He needs to do stuff like that. He does not need no more accents for Adam Driver. If I'm his agent, I'm like, nope. I'm sorry. You want to do this movie? Do you have an accent? No, we're not doing it. Andrew Garfield's back in We Live in Time. That's an A24 movie. Florence Pugh. Richard Gere could be in the mix next year for O Canada, which is Paul Schrader's return again. That's getting a lot of hype early on. Tom Hanks, a movie here. That's Zemeckis. Ed Harris, Long Day's Journey into Night remake. That could happen. Brian Tyree Henry, Flint Strong. That's a film that will be a contender. I don't know if that's going to go supporting, though. Could be. There's a movie called The Actor. I don't even know if The Actor's ever going to come out. That movie's been on Neon Slate for like 3 years straight. So I always have to put it on the list. Nicholas Hoult, Juror Number 2, Eastwood. Keegan back with Bird. Mescal, Gladiator 2. Robert Pattinson, Mickey 17, assuming that gets eligibility. Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. Why not? Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. Why not, guys? Can we at least consider it? Can we at least think about it? I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying, can we at least consider the idea? Bill Skarsgård, Nosferatu. That comes out at Christmas. That's been test screening forever, by the way. Sebastian Stan as Trump in The Apprentice. You don't think that's going to have a strong impact, assuming that gets released this year? John David Washington, I'm still not sold on, so I don't know. I mean, for me, he's not happening. Let's go to actors. I'm not going to do supporting because I'm going to be honest with you. Supporting's a shit show right now. It's so early. It's so hard to figure this stuff out. I have a few names on there. Go check it out on awardsace.com if you want to. Amy Adams, Night Bitch, possibly. It's Adams. Jessica Chastain is back with Mother's Instinct, although I don't think the reviews are that high on that. I think it's already got screened. Danielle Deadwyler could be back again, this time getting a nomination in The Piano Lesson. Comer, Bike Riders. Let's see what else. We got Angelou Ellis in Nickel Boys. We've got Lady Gaga, clearly going to be one of the big hitters for Joker 2. Cynthia Erivo should be the lead for Wicked, so that should be there. You look at Regina Hall, which is going to be the PTA movie, probably won't get in this year. Angelina Jolie, Maria. That is from Pablo Larraín, who did, of course, Jackie and Spencer. And so you know that he's going to get a great performance, and the movie's going to be super stylistic. You look at Kidman, Holland, Michigan, Regina Hall, Shirley. Who else do we have here? Merlant for Emmanuel. Florence Pugh, Live in Time. Saoirse Ronan for Blitz or for The Outrun. Outrun has not been picked up yet, by the way. I don't know what's going on with that film. It's weird. It had its debut, and no one bought it. I don't know why no one has purchased The Outrun. I'm hearing good things about it. And then Emma Stone could be back. I mean, she has no chance of winning next year. They're not going to give it to her again. She needs a break. We need an Emma Stone refractory period, right? It's got to happen. Kristen Stewart could be the lead for Love Lies Bleeding. It's not going to happen. I just like putting her there. And Zendaya for Challengers. Finally, that's coming out. So there you go. So there's your best actress. Let's do director, and we're not going to do supporting. I have no confidence whatsoever beyond who I said, Ferguson and Butler for Dune. That's all I got at this point, really, with real confidence. Directors next year, PTA, assuming he gets in, obviously that's one. Edward Berger, Conclave, likely. Coppola, Megalopolis. We've got Kevin Costner with 2 films, Horizon and American Saga Part 1 and Part 2. Could he be there? Possibly. Clint Eastwood, Juror Number 2. I love Rose Glass. I have to put her on there for Love Lies Bleeding. Luca. How do you say Luca's last name? Is it? I'm not going to even try. I've never said his name, and I'm not going to do it. Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing it. But Challengers he also has queer. You've got Marielle Heller back. Remember, she's had some success in the past. Night Bitch. That's the one with Amy Adams. Ryan Johnson with Knives Out 3, Bong, Mickey 17, Yorgos, possibly Kinds of Kindness, Pablo Rain, I mentioned with Maria. Barry Levinson back with Alto Nights. That's a mob film with De Niro, and that is a Warner Brothers movie. I've got, let's see what else we got here. George Miller Furiosa. Rachel Morrison, cinematographer, as her first debut feature. I believe it's her feature debut. Flint Strong. Jeff Nichols, probably not going to happen. I mean, look, you look at Searchlight getting rid of that film. Jordan Peele could be back with a movie. We'll find out. Todd Phillips, no question, he was there last time. I'd love to see Oz Perkins in the mix. Oz Perkins is a hell of a talent. Longlegs is coming. I mean, it's going to be too weird for sure. But for me, best director, doesn't matter how weird the movie is. If the movie's good, not like Poor Things, terrible. Trey Edward Schultz, obviously I've got him in there. Tillman Singer, guys, let me talk about Tillman Singer for a second. If you've not seen Lose, you need to see Luz, Lose. Oh my God, that film is so wild. You talk about abstract, bizarre shit. You need to watch Lose. Luz back with Cuckoo, which is going to be a neon film. It's going to be weird. It's going to be totally weird. That dude's got talent. Tillman Singer's legit. So just remember that name. You've got Sorrentino back with that Paranthropy or whatever you want to call it. Denny is obviously there with Dune Part 2. He's going to get a nomination this time. Because, look, again, we just don't have the strength that we had this year, Zemeckis in here. You just don't have it. It's kind of missing. So I think it's going to be a good year if you are not necessarily the strongest in the mix. Because, but I mean, this year was very hard. I mean, when you're going up against Nolan, and I think you also, listen, we're always going to get surprises. As much as I thought Glazer, we all knew Glazer was going to deliver a banger. And even though it was certainly not the same banger that we had last time from Glazer when we watched Zone of Interest, you knew this was going to be well directed. And look, he's in. You look at Anatomy of a Fall, Trier in. That happens a lot where we get someone out of nowhere, another person we're not even talking about here tonight. So as the year progresses, we'll get more into that stuff. But listen, it's interesting. I'm not a huge Knives Out fan. I don't dislike the films. I think they're overwritten. I think they're like inside. Just get to it. Like the last film was out of control. Knives Out 2 was, oh my God, the reveal just went on forever. And then this, this is too much. Overcomplicated. I think ultimately I want to see things dumbed down, not dumbed down like stupid, like a movie like I haven't seen them, See It Tomorrow, Imaginary, like a dumb Blumhouse movie. I'm talking about just make your script accessible, but push some boundaries, but still make it accessible. And I feel like Knives Out 2 just does too much with that. There's a way to bring it down. It's too long. There's too much. Just slow it down. Michael, I don't subscribe to this person deserves an Oscar. It should be only based on the quality of the film. I believe that. But we don't work in that world. We don't live in that world. We never have. We did. We don't anymore. As you guys know, you look at a DEI. You look at how we now hire. And listen, I'm not going to go on a political rant here. I'm just going to tell you that there's no universe in which I will ever base any of my decisions on anything other than merit. There is nothing else in this world that I even consider. I do not care what the race, religion, sex of anybody is. I want to know, are they quality? Are they competent? Are they qualified for? It's all about the win of the person who is the most deserving. It's that simple. It's not hard, guys. It really isn't. And I don't know, but unfortunately, it's not the world we live in. Gaga being nominated would not be a shocking surprise. Obviously, we know that. So I think that she's going to be a lead. You can tell it's going to be a shared thing. Now, if for some reason Gaga's supporting, she's going to win that. I mean, I guarantee if they put Gaga supporting, she will win supporting actress. Remember, I said this on the 10th of March, 2024. 1 year from now, when Lady Gaga wins for supporting actress, it's because Warner Brothers slotted her there. Remember this, the studios slot these things how they see fit. So they can have a performance they consider a lead. Like, great example, Lily Gladstone. If Apple wanted to slot her supporting, they could have. I also think she's fine as lead. There are some times when we see someone who is clearly category fraud, right? Where it's someone has like literally in like 95% of the movie and they're like supporting. we've also had supporting roles that are much larger and meatier. Look at RDJ here in Oppenheimer. That is a meaty role, right? Versus some of these supporting roles are very short. You know, look at a performance like a Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street. So small, but so impactful, but so small. And that's the thing is when you look at a performance that could be massive and still be considered supporting, it's really up to the studio. The studio decides. And if I'm a studio and I think that the path to winning is supporting, I'm going to put Gaga in supporting, even if she's in 85% of the movie. And she should be the lead. I'm going to say she's supporting. And you're all going to scream and bitch, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when they vote, they're going to vote for supporting. That's how you do it. That's how you win. And that's correct. Barry, that's a great point. When you look at how you get this done, nothing proves the point more than The Favorite. Go back to 2019. You look at The Favorite. You had those three actresses, and Searchlight knew that Emma Stone had just won Best Actress. Emma Stone is the lead of The Favorite. Not a question. She is the lead of The Favorite, okay? And what they did is they said, no, we're going to push Olivia Colman to lead. We're going to slot the other two supporting because they knew they could get a nomination for Emma Stone in supporting. For lead, it might have been a little harder because she just had won for La La Land. It was too soon. Recency. You got to have a little bit of space. It's rare. It happens. McDormand, it happens. But usually you need a refractory period. It's what happened to Leo this year. Too many Leos. Too much Leo. Let's just give him a year off. Even though he is great, that's just the way it works. So when you look at The Favorite, you had a situation where you could have put Emma Stone lead. The problem is you wouldn't have gotten the win. So what they did is they got 2 nominations and a win because of the decision to push Coleman to lead. That is called smart, thinking ahead, 4D chess. They had the pieces. They knew how to do it. That's how you run the show. So ultimately, when it comes down to slotting these things, the studios are going to be on top of it. They know. They should know. If they need me, again, I'm always here. I know I'm the, quote, old white guy, but I know a fuck ton of stuff. And if you let me come in, I will tell you what to do, and I'll be right. I'm right most of the time. I'm still right about poor things. I don't care what you guys say. Norm 2014. Have you heard about the screen test? I've not. I'll look into it. I have really good contacts that will be able to tell me on that. I don't like to spoil that stuff. You know, I know what's his name does a lot of that. I forget his name, Jordan. He does a lot of that screen test stuff. And I personally don't. The only reason I'd ever want to see a screen test screening is because one, obviously helps shape the movie, but I don't want to see an unfinished product, or at least the most unfinished product, because I'd rather be able to look at a film and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to slide here. We're going to move this, cut this, get rid of that. Here's what I'll tell you. After watching Love Lies Bleeding, it's the 10th time I've mentioned it this stream, I can't wait for you guys to see the movie. I want to have a long discussion. There is something about that film that I would change, and it would make it better instantly. And that's what I do. That's what I want to do. You bring me in, I'm going to say, move this, get rid of that, cut that, boom, 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 slap it here. It's not hard. I mean, I would have told Nolan not to construct his film the way he did. But I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I would have constructed it slightly different. Somehow, I would have gotten that test further into the movie. I wouldn't have it at 2-hour mark. I would have the test at 2:30. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's got to be a way. We'd have to go in and look at the screenplay and start moving things and check things out. But here's the point. We got to slide so that we don't have that thing crescendoing and then cratering. We can't do that. And that's the problem with Oppenheimer. I mean, listen, it's a great film. It's a really well-made film, but I don't love the construction of it, the screenplay. I don't love it. I keep hearing they're shot multiple endings to Joker 2, and they're all very controversial. Oh, listen, I mean, here's the thing. So if they shot multiple endings, listen, I go back to Joker when I first saw that movie here at the premiere in LA, just, like a week after it debuted over at Venice. I was, when it ended, I sat there and I said, go back and look at my reaction tweet. I can pull it up. I'm not going to waste your time. It's there. I can't believe Warner Brothers allowed Todd Phillips to make the movie that he just made. I can't. That's balls. We've been talking about balls throughout the night. You talk about Warner Brothers and what they allowed him to do with that film. I don't care. Forget Taxi Driver. Forget King of Comedy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about blowing De Niro's brains out, jamming a scissors into dude's eye. That is savage. That is hard R shit. That's not like, that's hard R. Okay, unless you consist on a diet of Human Centipede and Terrifier, Joker's hard R. And so the fact that he did that and Warner Brothers said, yeah, go for it. Yeah, we're cool with that. It doesn't surprise me that whatever the ending of Joker 2 is going to be like, oh my God, they did it again, because Phillips is going to want to outdo himself. There's going to be something in this film that's going to push a boundary. And I give Todd Phillips credit. I think cinema should push boundaries as long as it's within the boundaries of what I consider good taste. I talk about Terrifier all the time. Terrifier, Art the Clown, oh my God, one of the best, really sinister, malevolent beings ever created on the big screen. The problem with that film for me is that because of the savagery of the kills, it loses the humanity. And I know horror films, but still, there's still a point, even in a horror film, where it's like, okay, we don't need to keep slicing and cutting and damaging and debasing a body. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying. You feel me. Give me a thumbs up. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't mind. We can push there. Go there. Do things. I think Joker was perfect at that. I really love Joker for what it does. I don't care about I don't want to hear about it being, I'm talking about the sheer fortitude and just balls that he has for that film and what Warner Bros. Let him do. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. Yeah, right, exactly. Screen tests don't have that stuff. I've been to several screen tests, and a lot of times it's a green screen. I remember seeing an animated film, I can't say which one, an animated film in a test screening, and it was storyboards. I was like, this is hilarious. Like, I was dying. Because, like, here's the storyboard, and you hear the voices, and it's like, it's wild. And then afterwards, they always give you the questionnaire. First question is, did you like the pacing? The pacing is what they wanted. Pacing. Who stood out to you? What stars? So we can cut a performance if it's bad. Like, great example. Go back to the card counter. We always will talk about the card counter because it's the textbook example of a film that's absolutely destroyed by a performance, and that is Tiffany Haddish. It's horrible. It's truly atrocious, that performance. And poor Oscar Isaac in the card counter. But if I was at a test screening for card counter, I'm like, you got to get rid of Tiffany Haddish. She can't be in the movie. I don't know, but there's no way to cut her out. So poor Paul Schrader's like, I'm fucked. He knew he's fucked because that performance is terrible. That's the thing is, if you have a performance that you can cut out, and there's been plenty of examples of that. Go back throughout the history of Hollywood. Performances have been cut out of a film because doesn't work out. The person isn't good, whatever. The character isn't essential. Save some time getting rid of the character altogether. So, yeah, test screenings are wild. They're really wild. I saw a test screening of another big action adventure, and I knew when I saw it, I go, this film's dead. I think that was my comment. This film's dead. This is before, by the way, I was kind of like a name. Look, I put this in quotes. A name. It's a big. Trust me, it's a big air quotes. But before, now when I show up somewhere, I swear to God, they look at me and go, "There's no way you're coming in here." Like, they know who I am. They know. You don't think that these tweets that I send out about, Licorice Pizza and Poor Things and Beau is Afraid, these are all like, everyone's aware of this shit. This guy plays rough with films. Like, really, nobody plays rougher with films than me. Not a single person. Not one person out there. And because of that, you gain a sense of notoriety, for good or bad. I'm not saying it's never been the point. When I came out of Poor Things, I was mortified that Emma Stone made the movie. So that was a natural reaction. It was never about tweets or likes or engagement. I don't care. I just want to say what the truth is to me. And so that's what ultimately, hopefully one day, someone will have the balls to bring me in to watch a cut and go, you got to cut this. This is too long. Get rid of that. This is not working. Change this. And, I go back to Barbie. What was the number one thing I do to Barbie? Get rid of the Kubrick opening. It's gone. It's over. It's out of it. You got it in the trailer. It's gone. It's not in the movie. It's not in the movie. And I'd walk out of the room. Greta, it's not in the fucking movie. It's not. There's not even a debate here. No Kubrick scene. It's out. It's in the trailer. It's all you need. That movie is made better when you truncate it. Goodbye. It's gone. Goodbye. Smashing baby doll heads. It's over. It's not. It's out of the movie. It's 100% out of the movie. No, you're 100% wrong, Omega Swiper, because we saw it in the trailer. If I had never seen the trailer, I would have said, okay, it's fine. I still wouldn't but because it is the trailer, you don't put it in the movie. You can't do that. Like, Warner Brothers fucked up. Don't make that the trailer. You just ruined the impact of the movie. I know you're trying to get people to go see the movie. I'm telling you guys, I've talked to people that are very smart. Whenever I tell them that note, they go, holy shit, you're 100% right. It's not a good. I go, thank you. It's 100% right. Yeah, I would get fired for being abusive for talent. But you know what? It's not like Emma Stone. Okay. So if I had the script for Poor Things in front of me and I was her agent, I would say, I don't give a shit who's directing this. I don't care if Yorgos is your man. We're not making this movie. This is not. I know she just won an Oscar, and I know Hollywood's fucked because it's a weird fucking place. But I'm telling you, I would have said no, and don't come in here with saying she won an Oscar. It's Holly weird for a reason, okay? Look at what the movie's about. I'm just telling you, I would have been right. Don't make this movie. The fact that it's made over 100 million worldwide and she has a Best Actress speaks to people having no taste whatsoever. It's it's not about abusive. It's about being absolutely filterless. You can't hold back. You have to say, this sucks ass. I can't believe. That's the problem. Everybody in this world these days is like, I don't know if I can say that. I just said DEI would never be the way I go. You think any other person's going to say that that's involved in the Hollywood system? Oh, I can't. But I'm right. And that's the thing. Even they know I'm right because I'm hiring talent. I'm hiring on skill. I'm hiring on merit. I'm not hiring on skin color. What are we doing? We're not doing that. It's never going to happen. Never. Never in the history of how I run things will it ever happen. So says the white guy, too bad. I don't care. I am never going to play a game where we are going to value one person over another because of skin color. It's never going to happen. Period. So in Hollywood, it's never going to work. They'd be like, they would find what I had right here. They would find this video and go, we can't have him work here. He's right though. But Weber's right. I know he's right, but we just can't have that thinking. It's too Trumpian. He's too Trumpian. That's what someone said you're the Donald Trump of film critics. Whatever. But the one thing you got to say about Trump, dude is filterless. Dude's nuts, but dude's filterless. And so if that's what it is, that I am the Trumpian film critic. But the truth is you have to be totally fearless. And they know I'd be right. They know I'm right, but they'd be like, also, no, that's not true. I am always right though, Byron. I'm right. My batting average, ask anybody here, is like really high, really high. All right, we're over an hour. We're going to go about another 10 minutes and I'm out of here. Poor Things is a legit remake of Frankenhooker. I never saw Frank. Welcome to the channel again, Sleepy Skunk. Good to see you here. I know you love that movie as much as me, so you're thrilled with the 4 Oscars. Hated but never imitated. That's for sure, isn't it? 100%. You didn't watch? What's wrong with you? I always go against the grain, bass player. Always. No, but it's not that I go against the grain on purpose, right? It's because this is what I believe. And if I believe that DEI and woke shit is garbage, when you're trying to hire people based on skin color, then it is garbage. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. I hope I didn't miss any super chats. If I did, come in the comments here and tell me. We'll go about another 10 minutes and we're out of here. I'm just happy the Oscars are over. I mean, it's been a long year, right, guys? It also feels very gratifying to see Oppenheimer win. The Academy has set things right. They have finally, over last 3 years, we've not gotten it right. Finally, we got it right. We got the right film, and it is the greatest achievement in cinema. It's Oppenheimer. So I think we all win here tonight. It's a big win for cinema. It's a big win for the movie-going, loving of cinema crowd. And there's no question that, going forward this year, we should have a very strong year, not just from the Oscar standpoint, but you look at box office coming up, even the next few months. I think Fall Guy is going to be a huge hit. Okay. You look at their chemistry, look at Emily Blunt, look at Ryan Gosling when they did that thing there about Barbenheimer during the Oscars. Look at that. That is magic. That film is going to be gargantuan. Remember, I called that a long time ago. Not sort of. It's going to be so much bigger than any of you think it's going to be. Just you wait, because I have a feeling the reviews are going to be very strong. I love David Leitch as an action director. It's perfect for Gosling. He gets to do some comedy. He can show off the absolute godly physique that he possesses. And you've got Emily Blunt. They've got great chemistry, banter back and forth. It's going to be great. And then you go ahead and you look at going forward for the rest of the year. Deadpool, Wolverine, easy billion-dollar film. You keep going into Joker 2. Can't wait for. I mean, if you asked me what movie do you really want to see this year, I would have told you Love Lies Bleeding. I've already seen it. And I would have told you Joker 2 because of the risk taking that Warner Brothers took for Joker 1. I cannot wait because I know that Phillips is going to go bonkers with 2. It's going to be nuts. It's a musical. That film is going to be an experience. I'm calling it now. There's no question. Joker 2 will be the film-going experience, the cinematic experience of 2024. It is going to have some shit in there that is going to knock you sideways, backward, and off the cliff, and you're going, I can't believe what's happening. That's what's going to happen. I cannot wait for Joker 2. I know I'm right. Yes, you're right, Byron. I'm right all the time. You're right. A few more comments and we're out of here. Thanks for being here on this Sunday night. The big stream here on MMT. Those of you who've never been here, it's what we do every Sunday night. It's always fun. We have a really smart crowd here. These people, we have industry folks that watch, even if they'll never say that they do, because actually I get direct messages all the time. I can't tell you. But the thing is because they know what they're getting here is real. What they're getting here is fearless. It's unfiltered. And it's typically dead on. It's typically like right over the target, like every time. Why are you not excited for Deadpool 3? I can't wait. I love Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds. But no, I love Ryan Reynolds. I love him. I think he's so talented. I know he plays a version of himself every time. I can tell you right now. You guys ready? I am going to, at some point, it's going to happen. I am going to write a script for Ryan Reynolds that is going to get him an Oscar, or at least get him in the conversation. It's going to happen. I even know what it is. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I believe Ryan Reynolds can be an Oscar contending actor. He is undervalued. Okay. It's not because he follows me on Twitter. That's not why I'm saying these things. I firmly believe that Ryan Reynolds is a singular talent and he has to find the right role. And I have it. I've got the role. I've got the movie. If I could write the movie I want to write, I would get Darius Marder to direct it, and it would be it would feel exactly like Sound of Metal with Ryan Gosling. That's all I'm going to tell you guys. Okay? So that's all. I can't say anything else. I can't say another word. Ryan Reynolds gave a pretty good performance in Smoking Aces. Felicity, he's you go back to Ryan Reynolds before he kind of became obviously Deadpool and all the film. He's done a lot of interesting films. Go back, let's pull it up. Let me just pull up his film because a lot of you are laughing, going, Ryan Reynolds. Okay, really? Let me tell you, Ryan Reynolds can be an Oscar contending actor. I'm 100% certain. He just has the right script. And I know what it is. I know what the script is. Okay, here it is. Let's go through and go back to where he was coming up, right? Not Six Underground and all this shit. Let's go all the way back, and we go back to before Deadpool. Okay, here we go. Forget R.I.P.D. That doesn't count. I love Croods, by the way. Croods and Croods 2 are fantastic. I adore. Croods 2 is amazing. Safe House. Okay, Green Lantern. You guys, okay, fine. Buried. Remember that? He was in that. He's all stuck in the thing. He was buried for the entire movie. The Proposal. Obviously, he's made a lot of like films that you just don't take him seriously. But I'm telling you that he has the capability. Look at Amityville Horror. When he has to be serious, he's very good. He can do these things. But then you go back and you just look at some of the stuff like Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place, which, by the way, I worked on the same lot as he did. He was like 2 doors down from me when I worked over at CBS Radford. I used to be a PA for a bunch of shows for Brillstein Gray. And then he was working on Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place on CBS Radford. And I was always laughing because the girl on that show was so hot. And we'd see her on the lot and we'd be like, oh my God, she's so hot. The younger Weber as a PA in Hollywood. Yeah, I've done everything, guys. I mean, my life's wild. That's all I can tell you. That's why the script I'm going to write is going to be awesome. Just wait. Ryan Reynolds will be nominated for an Oscar. It'll happen. I'm telling you guys. If it's not my script, it's going to happen somehow. Okay. Go back and look. You see, most of the stuff you look at now, you're never going to say that. You're going to say Deadpool. You're going to see Six Underground. You're going to see, the Hitman, Hitman's Bodyguard. You're going to see all that shit. That in Free Guy, Adam Project. I get it. But this man can do it. I'm 100% certain. I'm 100% certain he can be one. I hear Joker 2 is very similar to New York Scorsese. I mean, listen, I'm sure he's drawing other things. I know he always plays him every time. but he can get out of that. You just have to write the character so that he can have bits and pieces of that, but that's not it. That's not the heart of his character. He can have parts of Ryan Reynolds that he delivers, but he also has to show almost a depressed side. What did I tell you guys about my script? My script's going to be depressing. I'm not going to lie to you. It'll be depressing but uplifting, right? Melancholically depressing and uplifting simultaneously. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen because I just have to do it. I'm like every guy who sat here is like, yeah, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. But you guys know, here's the thing. Let me tell you about my life, and then we're gonna wrap the stream because I'm exhausted. It was a fun stream tonight. The story of my life is this: wait, procrastinate, do. This channel I was going to start 5 years ago. I didn't. I was lazy. I was lazy. I was like, I don't want to put films on the wall. I don't want to go get a ring light and a camera. It's too much work for me to go buy a pod mic. I'm not even kidding you guys. This is the truth. And finally I said, let's go ahead and get a pod mic. Let's get a boom arm. We've had like 5 different boom arms. This is the one I finally like. I'm very specific. Once I find something I like, I keep it. But until then, I'm like, keep changing. You guys notice the movies move around a little bit, but I kind of like where they are right now. I feel like they're in a good spot. They're all arranged just about right. So if you just give me the time, I will overcome the procrastination and we'll accomplish. And my mission now, I might have to quit the channel. My mission now, so I can actually focus. I'll say I'm not going to do the show for a long time because I need to write this script for Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to write the script for Ryan Reynolds. I know exactly what the script is. It's not even a question. Like I know, it's not like I'm like writing. I know exactly what it is. It just has to be on the page, which I know is a lot of work. I get it. But when it happens, it'll be done. And then we'll all look back on the stream years later and they'll play it and go, that was the night he said it was going to happen. Because if there's one thing that I've been doing throughout my life is saying something's going to happen and then boom, it happens. Except for Poor Things. That's it. I was wrong. And that's all I'm going to say. It's over. I guess, Johnny, I should have started during COVID because then I would have had a captive audience. Now we've got 7 billion more options that you have anytime. And I appreciate you guys at least once in a while checking out the channel. Thanks for being here, MMT, on this Sunday night. It was fun. It was a great Oscar season, and it, certainly was finished off the way it should be, with Oppenheimer winning Best Picture and Nolan winning Best Director. It was the way it should end, and it's a fitting end, and it is a satisfying end. And as I say that, it's a satisfying end of the stream because I'm done. I'm tired. I'm out. I'll see you guys next Sunday for sure. Updates coming up this week. I don't even know what's coming out. There's nothing big. Check out the box office from earlier today. The box office stream is there for you if you missed it. Any reactions, check the channel, get your likes, subscribes in, and your notifications. I appreciate it as always. Live from LA. Peace out. See you next time. MMT.